Good morning, guys. Thank you for your replies yesterday. I had my annual breakdown. I appreciate your support, your comments, your advice very much, and your friendship. Um, Extremely. I appreciate you and thank you. And, I know that I've talked about being on the spectrum. I feel like being on the spectrum is a huge thing, but also I have major issues. And I'm not, you know what it is too on YouTube? I find it ironic. We talk about 45, who is a cult of personality. Uh, but a lot of YouTubers, like really popular YouTubers, like psychics, tarot readers, whatever, they have a cult of personality. I always find that ironic. Um, and you don't want to mess with them because then you're out. And it's a lot like 45. It's true. It's true. I've noticed that. But maybe that's just how it is. You got to play a game. You have to play the game. And I come on and I don't like to be on camera, and that's something too. I don't have that. I won't say I do have ego, but I don't have like that vanity or enjoyment of myself on camera, and I don't know. But again, I really think there's a cult of personality that I don't have, and maybe that's good probably, but it's also what you need if you want to be popular and successful on YouTube and in the world. And I also feel like I have this survival thing of invisibility, and I need it and I use it, and I've used it since my childhood, but then it stops me from having like success. My So anyway, let's talk about 45 and that real quick. You notice how he couldn't silence Jimmy Kimmel. He tried. 45 has tried to silence big talkers and people who would talk about him on a public sphere, because the Epstein files are coming out, right? It's clear. It's eventually they're going to come out. And I think one of his plans was to silence the entire media, which, yeah, the entertainment industry, a lot of them are creatives, and creatives are basically mostly uh, left, right? Democratic, because you have to have freedom to create. You have to have freedom of mind to create. And well, anyway, he couldn't silence Jimmy Kimmel. Um, that backfired. And here's something horrible. So Disney, we all canceled our Disney Hulu, which is connected to ABC and all that stuff. I canceled. I didn't want to, because that was the Disney Plus had the Beatles Get Back series, which I love and I'll watch once in a while. I just really love to watch it. But I gave that up because you got to have freedom and you have to stand for something, and money does talk. Well, what Disney has done now is they raise their prices so that to punish us, so that now that Jimmy Kimmel's back, they're like, but we're going to punish you guys for leaving. And if you want to come back, you're going to have to pay more. So we're going to make up that money we lost. So they're punishing us. And it should be cheaper, right? You think if they were smart, they would make it cheaper and say, please come back. No, they're not doing that. These companies are so prideful. Like, look at Target. Target has lost a ton of money. They're probably going to have to file for bankruptcy. And all because they wouldn't do DEI, which is really, DEI is the right thing to do. And here's the thing, my local Target is DEI. It has people with disabilities. It has people with different ethnicity and gender and all of that. And I don't understand why, those people are going to lose their jobs. Why, as Kamala said, why are people capitulating to the Mad King? Why? Well, everything I say here is for entertainment purpose only, but honestly, why? Why don't people stand up and have a backbone? And none of this would be happening if people would have a backbone and stand up for something. If you don't stand up for something, you fall for anything. Like the sheep that fall off the cliff because one lamb or sheep or whatever jumped off the cliff, and then the rest of them do it. Come on. Got to stand on your own. You have to stand firm. Anyway, 45 tried to silence Jimmy Kimmel and others. That didn't work. So now what is 45 doing? He's trying to silence completely anyone who is far left, radical left. Well, let me tell you this. What's more radical? People who want health care and gun control and children to be fed and, for us to like be kind to each other. Is that radical? Because the far right sounds more radical to me when they're like no gun control and violent talk and, um, it's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. The far right now is like, and they've always been like this. The far right, Democrat or Republican, the far right has always been the radical religious right. That to me is more radical. Like they're having guns in your Christmas pictures that you send out to your family. That's pretty radical. Anyway, he wants the silence. That's what he's doing. He's trying anything he can because he knows the Epstein files are going to come out. So he's trying to silence everyone from being able to talk about it. And they are going to come out. Now, the Epstein family estate, which would be like Jeffrey's brother, just released a trove of information documents, which are being redacted. So frustrating. Just let us have those files. I mean, the thing is, we already know. We already know. And you could talk to the victims. We don't need the documents. Just talk to the victims. Well, they talk and planes fly overhead and drown them out. And I mean, it's just so obvious. It's very obvious. But yeah, talk to the victims. We don't need the files. We just need to hear the victims. I just wish that we were in a place where we would just believe victims, but we're not like that. And here's the other thing. It's really interesting. So this is really classic America, especially America, where someone says, oh yeah, this guy, this public male figure did this to me. And we say, but we don't want him to lose his job. We don't want him to get in trouble. And that's what we're doing with 45 and other public figures. We're saying that, and that's what it's going to come to. The files are going to come out, the information is going to come out, and it's going to be where, and so we're really already at that point, where people say, look at this. It shows that 45 was there. 45 did this, he did that. And we're going to say, they're going to say, but we don't want him to lose his job. He's the president. It's been that way, folks. Women have been through this. Victims have been through this for all of time. Go read The Scarlet Letter. This is The Scarlet Letter. Let me say this before I lose my train of thought. I don't want him to lose his job. Keep going, Amy. See, what happens is I channel these things and then I say it and then it flies out. And then it's like on to the next. But I wasn't done with that. I wasn't done with that topic. It's very frustrating when it happens. But I will move on to the next topic until it comes back to me. So the escalator thing. So, the escalator thing is he came down the escalator. He's very proud of that. He talked about that this whole time. And now the escalator wouldn't go up. Now he wants to blame the UN. As I said, the reason why his mind went there was because I feel, for entertainment purpose only, but I feel very strongly that he had New York traffic blocked on purpose. So the UN leaders, all of them, like Macron, which didn't play his game, would not make it to the thing in time. And he thought he was just going to go in there and be like, oh, nobody showed up. They're all late. And I'm the only one here. And I'm going to have the perfect speech. And I'm going to dominate everyone and say, I'm the king. Remember how in the very beginning he pushed everyone out of the way, all the world leaders, because he's so important. True narcissist. He played his little trickery there. And then the escalator didn't work. And then he wants to cry foul and say, oh, I could have died. And the UN tried to do it. And they were like, let's bomb the UN. You can't just bomb everybody. And you can't just accuse. But yeah, his mind went there because he did it to them. He figures they got him back for blocking New York City traffic. And he figures they got him back with that and the teleprompter. Now, the teleprompter thing could have been, but and he said then the mics didn't work. I actually feel like it's karma. I really feel like these things start to happen when the universe says it's done. And So here's the thing about the escalator, though. We'll just isolate it on that because I know that was not the UN. Now here's how you know. Anybody that can be logical can say this, can figure this out. Let's say somebody was in a control room and they had the what do you call it, the breakers for the escalators. Well, you'd have to turn them all off, wouldn't you, from a remote location? You couldn't just turn one. Now, maybe you could turn the one off, but I doubt it. It would have to be all of them, or the person, or you'd have to have a key, so you'd have to have the key to turn it off at the top of the stairs or whatnot. That would be obvious. You'd see them do it. You could review footage. You'd see them. What it sounded like and what it looks like, and they could go over the videos and see it was his own party. Someone ran up the stairs ahead of him and accidentally hit the switch, probably leaned on it. And here's me. Okay. Escalators going up. I actually don't ride on the escalator. I walk up the escalator always because I don't know, I'm just one of those people. And also, if one is stopped, like inevitably you go to the mall or whatnot and one isn't working, you walk up or you walk upstairs. You have to ask yourself why. I would be embarrassed to say, oh, the escalator didn't work and I almost died because I couldn't walk up the stairs. And they're not going to apologize. His party, he and his party will never apologize for falsely accusing the UN. Again, he accused them because it's what he would do. He would turn off the escalator. He would turn off the teleprompter. He would turn off the mics. But I feel like it was the universe doing it to him. I really feel that. Okay, so what's next? Anything else? I don't know. It sucks having to talk about him all the time. It really does. Any other things I can talk about here? Oh, okay. So the Charlie thing, Charlie K. I feel more and more and more strongly a week later that it was an inside job, and the message was to shut up anyone who would go against 45, especially with the Epstein. What did Charlie do? He started talking about Epstein files. And it was a message sent out to anyone like MTG and Boebert and others that you best not talk about this. You better not betray 45 or you're going to get. And so it's like silencing anyone. And you know how I said like MAGA was starting to split? I find it weird that Elon was there with 45 and notice how they had all like the glass, the bulletproof glass and all that, which, that's smart. That's what they should do, and got to be careful. But you notice how, yeah, Elon was there and you go, what were they talking about? Well, I think Elon's scared and Elon's like pleading for his finances and pledging his fealty to 45 because he's worried too. He's worried. For entertainment purpose only now, going on to the whole Kamala thing. So I don't know if I said this already. So, here's Coco. So, David Pakman had on the Election Truth Alliance, who have been showing the great anomalies of how Kamala really, like us psychics, we said she won. She did. What we should have been saying was who would be in the White House. I always did feel that trepidation of, she's going to win, but that doesn't mean she's going to be in the White House. And that, it always worried me because we know who 45 is. We know how he works. And, all of us were right. Kamala won. It's just she didn't get to be president. And okay, so what was really, to me, soul destroying, what hurt my heart, was after it happened, and we all knew, right? All of us women knew, like the 4 a.m. club. I'm actually more of a 3 a.m. person, that I wake up at 3 a.m. every night. And but it was women, it was the feminine who all said, oh yeah, this was stolen. This was stolen. There's no doubt. But the men and like the liberal, like Midas Touch and David Pakman and all these people, they refused to say, the men refused to say that it was stolen. And did I already say this? I've made several videos, so I don't know if I already said it. Started that way, I'll end it that way. But you know how they would, none of them, even to this day, except for David Pakman finally is allowing this, but none of the men would say that it was stolen, which it clearly was. And okay, so Kamala, she was upset because they wouldn't allow her to have a recount. Like Biden didn't allow it, and I love President Biden, but he and Schumer and all these male figures were like, well, we don't want to be like the Republicans. We don't want to be like them. We don't want to be like 45. We're not going to ask for a recount. She deserved to have a recount. Men would not and still will not say the election was stolen. Why? Because they are men and they don't know what it's like. All of us women, raise your hand, women, raise your hand if you've ever had a man steal something from you or take away your success, or like I had my ex threw my check from my publisher in the trash several times, and I knew that because I saw him do it and then went in the trash, and there it was, my check from my, and I remember seeing, he looked at it. That was when I knew that I was finally like, okay, I'm out of here. Because when you're at the point where you're having to dig in the trash for your life, but I've had many times in my life where a man took my success, denied me my success, made me belittled my success, and women know, and especially a woman like a black woman, Kamala. It's like, come on. So women, all of us women knew the election was stolen for entertainment purpose only. It's the men who still refuse to say, right? Most of the men, who don't have the divine feminine in them, will say that. The masculine, I'll say that. The masculine won't say the election was stolen. They refuse to say. And this is because they don't want to be falsely accused or accused at all. But all of us women know. We've been there. We know. We knew. We knew. So I'll leave it at that. And thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye.